Nigeria, employers contribute 10% of the salary. An employee contributes 8%, governed by the Pension Reforms Act.
By 1999, when democracy came in, salaries began to increase. The salary structure, the minimum wage in the state at that time was 600 naira per month per worker, while a director was taking home between 3,000 and 5,000 per month. Between 2000 and 2019, the salary structures have been increased about 5 times, taking the minimum wage now to 30,000 per month per person. That has dramatically also increased the pension, where a director used to earn between 3,000 and 5,000 naira per month. A director now collects between 200 to 700 or 800, depending on the salary structure in place. As you know, there are very many salary structures for the different cadres in the civil service. You have the health workers, you have the medical doctors, you have the tertiary institutions, you have the core civil service, you have the judiciary. There are very many salary structures. All these salary structures have different salary placements for officers who enter the service. The increase that has taken place as a result of the increasing salaries, the new salary structures that have come to play, has dramatically raised the wage bill of the state from what it used to be in the before 2000 and what it is now. So pension also has dramatically increased, because as your salary increases, so does your pension increase. And with time, the state government was no longer able to pay as workers were leaving, and the pension began to increase, began to accumulate. To the stage where we are now, we have huge pension liabilities, huge indebtedness in terms of pension that is owed to people who have retired. It was in a bid to solve this problem that the government introduced the contributory pension scheme. In this scheme, both the employer, that is the government, and when I say government, I mean both the state and local governments, and then the employee, that is the workers, contribute. In the case of Benue, the employer contributes 10% of a worker's total monthly wage bill, while the worker contributes 8%. This is then saved into a retirement savings account opened on the matter for staff who enroll, and the money is saved there towards the retirement of the officer, so that when eventually he or she retires, he or she will now step into these funds.
The employees receive the money when they retire. Previously, Nigeria operated a defined benefit system where employers or the government, in the case of civil service, solely topped up the pension account.
The old scheme, which we call the defined benefit scheme or the pay-as-you-go scheme, became unsustainable. Largely because it was subject to budgetary allocations, and we all know the issues with money. Pensions are not paid as I went due, gratuities are not paid also as I went due, and the rest of it. So following the global practice, and of course the introduction of the contributory pension scheme also, with the enactment of the Income Act 2004, as amended in 2014, it also became equivalent that the Benue State government should also follow. And so the law was enacted, and it is that law that also established the Benue Pension Commission. But of course, by the law too, we are also still operating the old scheme, because there are some people who are still being owed pensions and liabilities, and gratuities under the old law. So of course, until the last person is paid, last person is disposed of under the old scheme, that old scheme too will continue to be operated side by side with the new scheme. Of course, even those that are have been enrolled under the contributory pension scheme, before they migrated to the new scheme, monies had accrued to them under the old scheme. So even though they are part of the contributory pension scheme, even when you have to put up what accrued to them under the old scheme, together with the new one, and then pay them by way of gratuities and then programmed withdrawals by way of monthly pension at the time they exit. So, and then of course, there are people who have already retired. And so those ones who cannot be under the old scheme until such a time when their gratuities are fully paid or they die. You understand? So you can't really put a time frame to it. Of course, the issue of contributions. One, an eligible staff. And by what I mean by eligible staff is if a staff had less than 5 years, he is not by law, is not eligible to be part of the scheme. But if you had 5 years and above, you are qualified to be part of the scheme. So you enroll by the provisions of the law and by the very nature of the contributory system, pension scheme. You are supposed to, the government will contribute is 10%, the worker contributes at least 8%. Then there is also the part of what you call the group life assurance. By law, under the old scheme, under the old law, what used to happen when the staff dies in service is that you calculate 6 months of that staff's emolument and pay to the family as burial expenses. That has been outlawed. The system that is in place now is that when the staff dies in service, there's supposed to be an insurance system in place. From that insurance system, you pay, you are liable to pay 3 times the annual salary of that worker to the family. And how you get that money is, government is under a duty to institute a group life insurance for all its workers. And then with a premium, a monthly or yearly premium to be paid. So when just a staff dies, then the insurance company is under a duty now to pay the money as I have just enumerated. I just enunciated earlier. Then there is also the issue of what they call the accrued rights. Accrued rights. Accrued rights simply means at the time of your migration from the old scheme to the new scheme, something had already accrued to you by way of pension under the normal system of pension administration that we're already familiar with. So at that point, what is supposed to be done is you calculate the staff's or the workers' entitlement under the old scheme. Now, if the money is there, you can simply pay that money into the workers' RSA, that is the retirement savings account. The money will be there, and then whatever contributions are coming in by way of 8 and 10% is going cumulatively, to add to it. If the money is not there, it becomes a kind of, a debt. So at the point of the exit of the staff from service, and then whatever accrued to them, under the CPS, is supposed to be put together with what accrued to the staff under the old scheme. That becomes his or her total, entitlement by way of pension cumulatively. So that is that. Now, how do you get that money? That's the point. How do you now get to fund that the accrued rights of all the staff that are migrating from the old to the new scheme? That's when we talk about what we call the accrued rights redemption funds. It's simply a fund whereby, government contributes, there's a fund created. Now, monies are set aside, maybe by budgetary allocations or however, and then the monies are being put in that fund, preparatory to when the staff begin, to retire.
Retirement benefits were part of the annual government budget. However, employers considered it too expensive to maintain. Hence the shift to a co-funded system, the PENCOM.
Under the contributory pension scheme, there is an insurance policy which guarantees that your family or the next of kin will be given 3 times your annual salary. That's one feature. Then this one is also superior, so that in the sense that by the time you are leaving, your money is already in your own account, And every month, the pension fund administrators will be giving you your alerts showing how much your fund is growing and the interest that is generating therefrom. So that by the time you are retiring, you will now know what you are entitled to. Now, people will ask, what happens for the people, for people who, for instance, are not new entrants, who work before the introduction of this contributory pension scheme? What happens to their pension entitlements prior to joining the contributory pension scheme? There is provision for that. A fund is in place referred to as the accrued benefits fund. It is a fund which is set up to pay for the pension entitlements, your own pension entitlements, for the period before you migrated to the contributory pension scheme. For instance, if you work for 10 years before you now join the contributory pension scheme, they will calculate your 10 years pension under the old scheme, so that by the time you are retiring, the entitlement under that old scheme will be added to whatever you have contributed under the contributory pension scheme and then given to you.
Nevertheless, question: why is pension in Nigeria not as effective as in other countries?
It's actually a very big embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the state. But I think now that the new government is in place and the governor is willing, it's actually willing, because he has started fine, he has paid arrears of pension and whatever it is. So I think with what he has started doing, he will do very well. And I encourage him, I want to advise and encourage him to do more. Now that the people, you can look at the face of pensioners, everybody is smiling. Things are moving now, and therefore I think the government will do fine, despite the fact that a lot of people were dissatisfied with what the government was doing in the previous years.
We are heirs. Some of us, our husbands are no more. We are the breadwinner of the house. You know the situation of Nigeria now. You train, like me, I have 5 graduates, no work. So it is this meager pension that we feed on. Even if you go to farm, you can't do it because no money for fertilizers, and you must hire laborers before. So it has been tough, more than tough, tougher than tough itself.
For 43 months, the outgone administration owed us, local government 72, and they didn't do anything. And then gratuity, which should have been something we depart with and then equip ourselves, we have not been paid. They paid me 1 month out of my gratuity of almost 8 million, and since then nothing. And nobody about of the past administration cares about anything about us. Harmonization is a no-go area. Payment, if we are lucky, 3 or 4 times a year.
The Bible has it very clear. A laborer deserves. We will prioritize and address the issue by ensuring that all verified arrears of salaries, pensions, and gratuity are paid promptly without further delay.
My name is Professor Cephas Tushima. I'm a professor of hermeneutics and biblical studies. I studied surveying, I studied environmental sciences, and I also have an MBA. I've worked in different places, in theological institutions, in universities, both at home and abroad. I've taught in US, China, Uganda, Rwanda, and other places. I am the president of an NGO based in Jos, Hesed Resource and Development Foundation. One key thing in life is learning to set goals. set your goals, and then set specific steps you need to take to get to where you want to go, and set timelines when you do periodic reviews. Secondly, I would like to say that this is the day in which we can also renew our commitment to God, work with Him. The saying goes that one with God is majority. Thirdly, for Benue people in particular, God has blessed us with a wonderful governor. We need to support him, and every form of division and bickering needs to be buried so that we together can work in unity. As the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. Let's be united behind our governor. I'm very happy to be here on Benue TV, and I will encourage us to invite more people to watch Benue TV. This way, we'll be getting authentic news about Benue, but not just about Benue, but the world around us as well.
Before the coming on board of Reverend Father Hyacinth alias government, retirement and pension issues had resorted to constant judgment and subsequent garnishee orders, affecting the smooth running of the administration. In order to resolve the problem and alleviate the plight of pensioners, the state government appealed to pensioners to withdraw all cases from court.
On assumption of office as the governor, we proudly introduced ourselves to you as an association and highlighted the problems and grievances occasioned by the previous administration and urge you to redress these problems and grievances since government is a continuity.
Series of letters, series of march past, going around the pub. Sometimes they even instigate police to embarrass us.
We have been resurrected from the dead as we were formerly known by His Excellency, the Lord Governor of Benue State.
The new administration had paid pensioners allowances every month, and those who had retired since the assumption of the new administration in Benue State had received their gratuities.
It wasn't easy. If not because of my children, maybe I wouldn't have been alive today. But they have been helping me. We suffered. No food. And we couldn't do anything. But now that Alia is here, we are enjoying ourselves. That is why we have come to say thank you to him.
He has started paying us, though the arrears have not been paid. But he is now up to date paying us pension, and he has revived some of us. They say we were dead people, but now you can see life in most of our people. In fact, some people who were about to go down with stroke, they are now moving about. Myself, I retired in 2015 as a director of environment. In fact, when I retired immediately, I never knew I was going into a very big task. In fact, as I'm speaking, those who retired with me in 2015 were being owed 43 months.
The government is making frantic moves to pay all pensions in the state and clear the backlog as soon as funds are available.
And government will continue to do the needful to keep the pensioners alive. We are aware of the invaluable work that you've contributed into making Benue what it is. And therefore, on behalf of the governor, pensioners will never be forgotten. Never. And so we thank you. We thank you. We cannot thank you enough. All the problems that your chairman has enumerated, substantial amount of them are being tackled. Those that he has complained that are remaining, I assure you that pensioners will love this time. And so this is a responsible governor. He's not a governor that will just be shouting on the newspapers. Not at all. He's not a governor that will call people that have contributed to working for this state dead people. No. This governor is a responsible governor, and by God's grace, he will run a responsible administration. And so let us go home hoping for a better. This is a word of encouragement to the concerned union. You went, you struggled, you separated, you work, you have conquered. It is time to forget about the past. Please and please, let us be one union. But let us understand that inside the one union, there is concerned pensioners. Let the body, overall body, have its respect, because what you wanted, God did it for you people. So what again? There's nothing again. You have won. You have begun to see dividends of your work, and we are promising you more. And so please be generous in your victory. Nobody in this administration will drive any concerned pensioner away. Nobody. Nobody. The governor has asked me to say what I'm saying. So be assured of the governor's commitment to you people. Be assured of his government continuous commitment to ensure that welfare and what is due for you is given to you as at when due.
Welcome to the exciting world of Benue Television, where we give you an exclusive ride into the world of news, current affairs, and entertainment. Ready for a first stop? Ride with me. For Benue Television.
Our news and flagship program, Daybreak Benue, keeps you informed on events and happenings around the nation and the world.
We engage our guests on hot topics and beam searchlight on shady stories.
With millions of people watching Benue TV worldwide, we ensure that we bring you news that is accurate, timely, and dependable.
Our programs are entertaining and educative with high quality audio, leaving you with an amazing viewing experience.
Benue TV, a new dimension in broadcasting.
On Thursday, May 25, 2023, the Benue State House of Assembly passed the Executive Pension Bill, seeking to place ex-governors and their deputies on gratuity, pension, and other benefits. The bill was to provide for the governor a permanent residential accommodation in any place of their choice in the country, make provisions for 4 new cars every 4 years for the former governors, and 2 new cars every 4 years for former deputy governors. It was also to provide for 6 personal staff for the former governors and 3 for the former deputy governors to be paid for by the state, while it also provides for free medical treatment for the past governors, their spouses, and at least 4 children under 18. The bill, however, received condemnation before daybreak, but that is a story for another day.